Hey y'all, this your girl Shema, back again on Help Me Out, personal development, premarital coach. Oh, daddy-daughter relationships, we still on it. Got another week to go. So I hope you guys have been enjoying it. I hope you're getting some valuable information out of this. While we're here, please stop, click the like button, subscribe, like, comment, share. Check out my website, futuremepro.com. Buy some merch, books, music, all that. So today we're talking about family aspects. Family aspects. Ooh. So jump right in because I don't want to make this video too long. Family aspects. Okay, fathers, understanding what role you play in your family. What role do you play in your family? Are you the most inspirational man? Are you the most wealthy man? Are you the most, what man are you in your family? What are you the most of in your family? Okay, because if you're the most, that means everyone else in your family is not close to it. And meaning they're not going to understand certain things about your thinking or your decisions or your character or personality sometimes. Okay, example for me and my father. My father was the most wealthiest man in my family. He was the biggest hustler, so he was the one. He's going to have the big, huge monster truck. He's going to have big, huge houses, a few quite different properties in different states. He's the one that's going to have, he has a job as a firefighter, but he has a business in his garage, painting body, but he also is flipping properties and flipping houses over here, but he's also, so my father was the hustler. He's the go-getter. So what do you think that meant for the rest of the family? What do people normally do with the main one in the family that is outshining everybody? Type your answers below, please. You know it. They talking about you. So understand, Daddy. Your kids are going to hear that too. I had to listen to other family members talk about my daddy. Oh, he think he all that. Oh, he ain't all that. Why are they talking about my daddy? Why are they talking about my daddy? Jealousy, insecurities. And I had to tell one of my cousins. They were like, well, they always used to talk about Uncle Leonard and da-da-da. And I said, cousin, check this out. Every single one of those family members could have had the exact same things my father had if they were willing to do what he had to do to get it. Are they willing to do that? And that was the end of that conversation. And a light bulb came on for him. And so, I understand that. And you guys need to understand that too. Your daughters probably most likely are hearing people talk about you in a negative light in your family. Okay. But that didn't stop my father. It was more important to him, first of all, to live out his dream and his passions because it's his life. Go live it. But second, because it was important for him, for his kids to understand how to live life, how to live a good, full, satisfying life. So he kept pushing. He didn't care. My dad didn't care. And that they talked all that mess, but they was the main ones at the party, drinking up all the liquor, throwing up in the bathroom. Okay? They was the very ones. Okay? But understand this, like you heard me say in the previous video, signs of a gold digger and another woman. When it came time for my father to pass, it was things that they didn't see it. They didn't recognize it. One, because they have been the very ones who have been talking about my father through the years. Two, if they weren't talking about my father, they were talking about his overachieving daughter, which is me. Gossiping. No, there's nothing to gossip about. My children graduated college. My son boxes and trains with Floyd Mayweather Sr. You know what I'm saying? My daughter just slayed college. She's line president of Delta Sigma Theta, recognized for black excellence on her campus, 3 times on the dean's list. My middle son, he was in the military, came out the Marine Corps, got his second degree in technology, cybersecurity, just opened and launched his own clothing brand, hoodie store. Um, and my kids on point. I'm on point. But yet they still have something to say. So please understand, your family won't, if they don't understand you, they're not going to understand your kids. If they're not used to money, they can assume that your kids ain't used to money. But I don't understand why they think that. I really don't understand how they think that. It's weird. And so, for me, I came from money. Whether it was legal money or illegal money, it was money. Okay. And so I grew up on houseboats and motorcycles and cars and traveling and skiing and horse. I grew up like that. But the rest of my family didn't. My cousins didn't. None of them. My dad has 5 siblings. My mother has 8. None of them grew up the way I did. Not one. So when it came to my time for my father passing, and his wife decided to set me up so she could rob me and my sister and take what she wanted, that my dad wanted to leave for his family. When it came to that time, it was hard because she had already set the stage. She already had my family gossiping about me, telling friends of the family. She had the whole storyline. And I said that's a sign of a gold digger because not one time she gossiped, but she never once asked me if I needed help. She never once asked me what's going on. Why didn't you ask me what's going on? Why didn't you ask me if I needed help? Why didn't you ask me if there was something you could do? None of that. Didn't even talk to me. She went all around my family talking about a private conversation between me and my father that she twisted and put her own tilt on it because she wanted to make my daddy pay because she knew he wasn't talking. It took too much energy. So literally my dad had to watch her do a lot of dirty things and then watch his family fall for it because he had nothing to say. But he knew how she was. He knew what she was doing. But he didn't care. He didn't care because he had cancer. He was finna leave anyway. His biggest thing was hoping that his daughter, that I was intelligent enough to be able to stand up against her and fight for what he wanted. Now, don't get me wrong. He didn't want us fighting against each other, because his heart was, he loved her. But he knew he did some things. He knew things didn't go the right way. You know what I'm saying? He felt like she was probably owed something for the prices that she paid, but he didn't spend his life working for her. It was for his bloodline and his legacy. Now, had she stayed in her place as a mother, as a stepmother, or whatever, she probably would have got so much more. She probably would have got what she wanted. She probably would have got so much more, because the way my father raised us, you know what I'm saying? But whatever her agenda was, it was what it was. You know what I'm saying? And so my daddy at the end called me his pit bull. My sister didn't like that. She's like, it's like him calling you his B. But that ain't what he meant. He knew how he raised me. He knew he raised me to be tough, not to be a quitter, to stand up for what I believe, and to be authentically me. Now, if he raised me to be that way, why would he allow somebody else to come in and tell me not to be that way? He wouldn't. He wouldn't. That's not who he is. And so, yeah, I watched her do that to a limited degree. But when I started stepping up, calling her on her stuff, Boy, when I tell you that demon got to acting out, then the threats come of, I'll keep you from your daddy. I'll make sure you don't have to be around your daddy, and I can make sure. Who would threaten to keep? Y'all type your answer. Why would somebody threaten somebody's child to keep somebody's child away from them when you standing up to protect them? You know what I'm saying? I watch you tell my family, call the family and tell the family, oh, he not eating. He not this, he not that. Well, again, it's not what she's saying. It's pay attention to what they not saying. Because what she wasn't saying was that she was being a narcissist, antagonizing my daddy. Y'all seen that movie, Diary of a Mad Black Woman? When she had that man in the house, nobody was in the house but her, and she was tearing him up. Threw him in the tub crazy. Well, she was similar. Oh, you want something to eat? Then go to the kitchen and get you something to eat then. Well, my daddy wasn't finna, when a man has a lot of pride and arrogance, and it don't even have to be arrogance. You're not finna beg no woman. You're not finna beg. You're not finna lower yourself. But now that he was in this weakened state, he could barely talk because it took his energy. He couldn't get up and walk too much. She go get something to eat then. And he wouldn't. And she was fine with him not eating for a whole day or two. But she's telling the family, he's not eating that much. He's not really eating. His eating is... But what she wasn't telling was that she was being a narcissist, antagonizing my father, putting him in the position where he didn't want to eat anything that she had to bring to him. She ain't say that part. She ain't tell the part where she was yelling, saying she'll never clean his ASS and she'll never wash his ASS. But see, the family doesn't know that stuff. They didn't grow up in the household. And even if they did, they're not spiritual enough. They may be religious, but when it comes to walking in the spirit and being able to identify a demon or an evil spirit or someone who is carrying evil intentions, they missed it. They couldn't see it. So don't expect your family to see and know. Don't expect them to. My daddy called me his pit bull. And I told my family if he could say that in religious terms, he would have said my guardian angel. Because I came in and called it. Why are you doing this? Don't do that. My father doesn't like that. My father doesn't want that. And her whole thing was to threaten me how she was going to keep me from my father. Because she had already spread this craziness to my family. And they probably would have supported her in it. Because they weren't intelligent enough to talk to their own family and say, hey, what's going on? The intelligence wasn't there. So I'm going to tell you, don't think that your family is going to support your children or even know how, especially if they did not come from a household similar to how you've raised your children and similar to how you've lived your life. Don't expect your family to understand that. Because it was like her setting it up like, oh, she's just hungry. She just want money. How can somebody be hungry for what they grew up in and what your parents raised you in and taught you? That's like being hungry. That's like me being hungry to have this shirt. Oh, I gotta have that. Why would I be hungry for something I already got? And the simple fact that, my own family, and hopefully you don't experience this, my family been there since the day I was born. And this woman ain't even been there half of my life. And she was able to convince my own blood of some BS. Because my family didn't come from what I come from. The money, the lifestyle. So in their mind, it all fits together, right? Because we all in the same position or bucket. But we're not in the same position or bucket. We're not. And your family may not understand that if you've raised your children that way. If they did not live the same way, they may not understand that. I'm just telling y'all now. So talk to your daughters. Share what you have to share with them. Let them know. I had hands out with my daddy all the time. This me and daddy in the money. But somehow my family think I'm being nasty to his ex-wife because I want what's mine. Ain't that crazy? So it's crazy. It's different because, my mother almost lost her life behind building a legacy. My father got it. My grandmother passed. They sold my grandmother. Well, they lost it out of greed. They split the money. So what my grandmother worked for, my mother, my father, and here I am dealing with this person who's not even my mother, trying to control my bloodline and what my family has built and worked for. So this is a true testimony for y'all. Okay. Family aspects and towards the end, I'm going to tell you, no daughter is ever going to feel comfortable with the fact that they had to watch somebody try to do their daddy in on the slide and isolate them from their own family while your family stand by and don't say nothing. Your daughter would not be okay with that. Don't expect your family to understand. If they didn't understand you and your greatness, they're not going to understand your daughter. If they were jealous towards you and envious towards you and spoke negative of you because you're great, they're going to do the same thing about your daughter. Daddy passed, all his haters came out. And his wife was the biggest one. Right up under your nose. Okay? So, y'all, be careful when you're choosing these women. Look at the signs. I've given you guys a lot of signs on these last few videos. And it's not just for my situation. Like I said, again, I've had cousins deal with this. I've had clients come to me and talk to me about certain things like this. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot, y'all. It can be a lot. It can be a lot to process, and at the end, I moved on. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I got the trust because even when Daddy passed, she didn't even want to give me the trust. Oh, my sister, she didn't want to tell us anything about anything. She expected us to act like my father never existed, like he never existed. And like I said, when they put that, when they put when we threw my father's funeral, she did everything she could to start fires, little fires. She had the funeral director try to push me and my kids and my sister kids to the back of the line. I asked the director, she says, "Oh, your mother said to put y'all back here." I said, "What?" I walked up to her and asked her, called her out on it. "Oh, no, I didn't say that." She cowered down and lied. Now, this is the person Daddy chose, right? Who's supposed to be mature, who's supposed to be an adult, who's supposed to be watching after his legacy a little bit. A liar. Start fires, run and lie. And when I asked the funeral director, she's like, I said, "I know you're not lying. I know you value your job. But had I pushed it and got that lady fired, she wouldn't have said nothing. Because she didn't want my family to know how nasty she had been. Because she had already set up this false image that she couldn't ruin, right?" And then my niece was there. You might know Damian Lillard, Kayla. Then Damian Lillard played for Milwaukee Bucks. That's my nephew. And so she had Kayla in the front of the line, like, them was my daddy kids and grandkids. Daddy didn't have nobody else but them. And the kicker is my family was okay with doing that. So again, family aspects. Don't think your family gonna stand up and support you. Don't even think your family will act like they actually knew your child before your woman did. Don't expect that, I'll say. Don't expect it. And if you want that different, work on your family now. Your aunts, your cousins, get it solid now so they have an understanding on how you want them to stand by your children and your grandchildren. And it's a hard position because I saw my dad trying to stay faithful to being a true husband and a protector and provider to this children and grandchildren and to her. He tried, but he had no children with her. But he still tried nevertheless. But here we are, and it's no dishonor or disrespect to my father. But how many of you would agree that if your father and your mother and your grandmother worked for something and a new person came in, that new person should respect your family? At least show some sort of love or respect. And everyone isn't like that. Again, gold diggers. Gold diggers don't care. They're not like that. And this woman's 75. She only got 5 more years left to live. And that's how she chose to spend her life and her reputation. And so, to each his own. But I choose to memorialize my father. And if you're a good father, your daughters will do the same. How dare some woman try to disrespect and down talk my father, and bash my father after losing my father. Your daughters will feel the same way because that woman may not respect you anymore. She might be saying the nastiest things behind closed doors to you, but you can expect it's going to show up when you're gone, and it's going to show up on how she treats your children and your grandchildren. Okay. So now, her family's embarrassed. That's Demi Litter's stepmother, my grandmother-in-law, my stepmother. But still, I'm going to send the one and let y'all know this. Hey, she looking at the dollar signs and she don't care who he is. So, nephew, And so I had to, you do your homework. I should have talked to her kids when we first met and asked her what the deal was. And her last stepdaughter. But I had to do it on the end. And then I began to realize, not saying she was a horrible mother, but she didn't bond with her kids. She don't have no, a lot of things started making sense after talking to her children, and the embarrassment that she caused her own family. But, and it's other things, I could have did more besides just getting a trust. But it comes down to listening to what's true in your soul and your heart. Not only what will my father want me to do, but what does the Lord want me to do? How am I teaching my kids when it comes to battling elder people who think they can just walk over you and treat you any kind of way? I'm still a mother. You still have to teach your children how to deal with people like this and how to stand on solid ground, right? And so, I could have sued her for slander, defamation, because I am a life coach and I have a good positive reputation, so much so that the city of Austin has awarded me 2 awards, certificates. So when somebody does things like that with a mindset that's really low, you got to think, do I want to spend money suing her for defamation? Because at this point, a person disrespects you and your family and your children and think it's okay. It's a lot of ways I could have went. She had already prepared for me to box her head in because she wanted to send me to jail or something and prove that all the lies she told my family was true. Because they couldn't see. They wasn't trying to see. They didn't even have enough common sense to call me and talk and ask. So it's a lot of things. I could have kept her in court and spent all that money she thinks she's stealing. I could have kept her in there, locked in there for so long, she'd be dead before she even get out of court. But again, what does the Lord want you to do? What does the Lord want you to do? Right? So sometimes just letting them drown in their misery and the facts of the reality that someone actually knows the truth of what they were really doing, that's torment enough for them to live a very unhappy life. Not saying I'm happy, Shan, but you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. So, family aspects, y'all. If you one of a kind and you raise your children to be one of a kind, don't think mediocre people or people that have not reached to your heights are going to understand you or your children, or that they're going to even try to honor or respect what's right. It's a strong possibility they won't. So, yeah, family aspects, y'all. That's what I got to say to y'all about that there. And until next time, peace out.